So has that been an issue being one of the only women on some of these buses in some of these settings?
It definitely has. Yeah. Sometimes not at all. And it's like I have like six brothers with me, that are just like looking out for me. And like I've had like one time one of our bus drivers said something very inappropriate to me, and our production manager got so mad, and then the tour manager found out, and they were like, "We're gonna go say something right now." And I was like, "Guys, it's okay, it's fine. Like I'm over it. It's not a big deal." But then there's other situations where some of those same people are doing what I don't want them to do.
Is so when you're on a bus with these people and you get in an uncomfortable situation, like what are your recourse? Like what can you do?
um, Hide, honestly. It's very, very uncomfortable. I've had, I like was sexually harassed.
Yeah, you can totally say that.
Is it?
Tell the story.
Okay.
I mean, I don't, if you want to say the dude's name, it'll be on the internet.
I won't say
Everybody will
his
find out.
name, I guess. I was actually sexually harassed by my like production manager for a almost 2 month tour, and it was horrible. It got to the point where I wasn't putting up with what he was doing anymore. So I just wouldn't talk to him, and he would come up to me and he would walk behind the merch table, and he would try to say stuff to just like push my buttons because he knew me pretty well. Because I mean, we were friends first, um, and then he would tell me I was his little sister, and then it would turn into, but I have a crush on you, and I would say you're.
That's a little gross if you have a crush on your little sister.
I know, right? But so it got to the point where we just wouldn't talk, and anytime he was on part, like in the front lounge of the bus, I would go to the back lounge, or if I couldn't get away from him, I would just sit in the jump seat with the bus driver up front and wait until he went to bed, and then I'd go get in my bunk.
So, in an ideal world, what would make that easier for our women colleagues to deal with? What sort of things do you think we need to put in place to prevent that? Because I feel like some of the reason this happens is people get in position where the boss is a dude and the person who's making someone uncomfortable is a dude, and everybody feels like, okay, I can't really say anything because they're like buds, and I'm the expendable person in this sort of scenario. Like it's easy to find somebody else to do my job, or easier. So, and I know I'm putting you on the spot. I'm not asking you to like devise the mechanism to fix the entire music industry, but like, what would be a thing that would have made that better for you? Like some anonymous way to talk to someone, or so. Like, I want to know. I mean, because I have some responsibility here. We're not on tour, but I like have something to run this department. What do I need to do to make sure that people feel comfortable being able to come talk to me if weird stuff's going on?
Well, I mean, you're a pretty welcoming person overall. I mean, you were my advisor freshman year, and that was great. I'm pretty sure I just told you I withdrew from a class for like virtually no reason, and you're like, okay, if it was that bad, that it was that bad. Like you're.
She still graduated in 7 semesters, by
Yeah.
the way. Just saying.
It's just one class. But I mean, I think that there's just an issue with like uh, it's like everybody just like sexualizes women, and so it's just a total mindset change. I think I mean, that person was very old school overall. And I think that there is definitely a change happening now where people, if you kind of snap them out of it, they'll wake up and realize what they're doing. But, okay. Um, I was working at a festival as an artist liaison, um, and my bands were showing up, and I was trying to figure out which of them needed to cross-load, which is, sorry if I'm over-explaining, but it's when you take the gear from the truck that it comes in, or the tour bus, whatever, put it in a different truck, and then they bring it to the stage. And so I was trying to figure out who was our cross-load captain and how many people of my bands were going to need to cross-load. So I walked up on deck, and somebody walked up to me one of the stagehands that I knew, and he was like, excuse me, man, you're distracting my stagehands. And I said, pardon me? And I just said, okay, I'm looking for, are you the crew chief? I need to find the crew chief or the crossload captain. I don't know how many of my bands, explain my situation. And he said, I can be anything you want me to be. I can be whatever you need. And I was like, but are you the crew chief? Like, that's not answering my question. And so he keeps doing that, whatever. And so I just like look down at my phone to text my tour managers back and figure out who was arriving when. And he says to me, why don't you smile? And yeah, yeah. And so right then it was like every option that I could, every kind of response went through my head. And I was like, well, it's 10 a.m. I don't think that's a good way to start the day if I freaked out. So I just looked at my phone, took a deep breath, and I said, why should I smile? And he said, you are absolutely right. This is the crew chief. This is his name. He's going to be here at this time, and let us know if you need anything else until then. And then he went away.